This is the 214 lab final project for Devin Fordyce. This project is due April 11th, 2016. It will look at my current fitness level and ways to improve it. Currently, I am 22 years of age, 6 foot 1 inches, 193 pounds. I have a body mass index of 25.5, which would currently consider me to be overweight, but that is not the case as I am an athlete. During the first assessment, I had a score of 63 burpees, 55 push-ups, 58 sit-ups, a 32 centimeter sit and reach, and an 8 foot 1 standing long jump. Majority of my scores were at least a rating of 70, with exception to the sit and reach. Some of the areas that I met my expectations in were the push-ups, burpees, and sit-ups. I would like to improve on my long jumps and sit and reach, as well as more push-ups. I would like to become more explosive as well as flexible throughout my training, as I feel it would allow me to be a better goaltender in the future. Using a PAR-Q form for an individual that had some health implication allowed me to see how the form worked. When I had filled out the form personally in the past, I would always select no for every answer. This did not allow me to see how it could determine whether I was capable for activities or not. Being an ice hockey goaltender, I already have a decent level of flexibility. My original test scores reflected this. After doing the stretches and repeating the test, I was able to improve my scores. It also allowed me to feel more comfortable in areas such as my hips. The walking test was not very physically demanding for myself. I found the greater challenge to be getting the distances to be equal. On my first attempt, it was difficult as walking in a group made me change my pace. The very last attempt, I felt I did a good job of matching the first and final pace. The walk and run test was something that I also found very easy. The progression of the 3-minute run and the 1-minute rest was something I found a bit more challenging. I feel that this is something that I could incorporate into my training and would prove to be beneficial, as I currently do not do very much cardio. The continuous training 3K run was most likely my least favorite lab. I was able to score a time of 11 minutes and 38 seconds. This is a score for that in future tests I would really like to improve. I need to put a lot of work into this area to see results, as my current training is predominantly anaerobic. Interval training was also something I found very difficult. It is not something I do very much of. I was able to meet my pace on the first 2 sprints. After that, I felt I was getting tired and was not able to accomplish my sprints in the paced time. With training, I feel I could meet this pace in all 4 intervals. Bodyweight training is something that is new to me. I feel that it could be beneficial as the workout, when done with the more difficult exercises, was challenging for me. This is something I feel that I could implement into my training when I am on road trips and do not have any access to any fitness equipment. The muscular endurance lab was one that I enjoyed, as this is something that my training has more focused on in the past. I counted 1 rep as being 5 completed exercises of each pairing, rather than each time I completed 1 push-up as an example. I found this lab interesting as I was able to determine my 1 rep max. This is not something in the past that I have ever known. Moving forward, this is something I will continue to test as I feel it gives me a good indication of where my muscular strength fitness level sits in comparison with others' fitness levels. Plyometric training is very similar to the way I usually train, with a little lower weight but more intensity and more explosive movements like the box jumps. It is highly beneficial to a goaltender who is making explosive movements, pushing from one side of his crease to the other or having to hop back up to his feet. CrossFit gave me a similar feeling to plyometric training. The main difference I felt was heavier weight caused me to work harder and build more muscular strength. Being a highly competitive individual, I feel I would injure myself if I did this consistently, as I would push myself too hard when trying to beat my previous totals. Looking back at all the labs, I have been able to determine my strengths and weaknesses. I feel I am very strong in my chest, legs, and core, and need to improve my cardio, back, and arms. I feel that these areas are weaker due to the fact that in the past they are not something that I have specifically focused on. My goal for the summer will be to focus on these weak areas. I would like to improve my cardiovascular endurance, be able to do more than 25 pull ups, become more explosive as a goaltender, and develop a stronger core, as I feel these will all help me become a more well rounded athlete. To do this, my program will incorporate a warm up phase with a light 10-minute run, target certain areas such as my glutes, hamstrings, and hip flexors, and incorporate a dynamic warm up. This will be done before each workout to ensure my body is ready to go, as well as to prevent injuries. Day 1 and 3 will be my lower body day. The movements will be slower and controlled on the way down, and then quick on the way up. During each exercise, I will focus on keeping a tight core, allowing myself to see greater improvements in this area. Every day in my program will incorporate supersets as it will allow me to raise the intensity and see anaerobic benefits without cardio training. Day 2 and 4 will be upper body. They will be similar to day 1 and 3 in the movements will be slow on the way down and quick on the way up, as well as focusing on an engaged core throughout every exercise.